Good morning, everybody. Uh, in a bit of a rush here. TA Tuesday, early. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's just blast through this, okay? A lot of stuff to cover. I'll try to make it as short and sweet as possible. And of course, disclaimer, this is edutainment, and we're going to start with the good news today. More good news than normal. But some slightly not so good news, but let me explain why that actually is kind of good news. First of all, digital assets did have an outflow, about 32 million last week, midway through the week. The outflows were much higher at 62, so actually it turned around halfway through the week, and sentiment by Friday had improved and it recouped over half, nearly 30 million of outflows was counterbalanced. 32 million outflows, but technically it would have been 65 if the money didn't come back in. So that is the little bit of good news. Timing is everything, as I say. Let's look at the market, what happened over the last week. You can see here, this is everything compared to Bitcoin over the last week. A lot of dark green, Sol, Polkadot, Filecoin is on fire, VeChain, Matic, etc. And some green and some light green. So overall, not too bad. Let's look at the last 7 days. Just cash. So this is the actual dollar value of the assets. Bitcoin up a whopping 13.19%, ETH 11%. That trend of ETH lagging Bitcoin is kind of startling. And then some of the altcoins are completely on fire. Some up over 30% in a week, like Solana, etc. So let's jump ahead. Let's look at whether we are out of Bitcoin season or into altcoin season. And this is interesting. You can see here again, when 75% of the top 50 coins outperform Bitcoin over the last 90 days, it becomes altcoin season. We are not there yet. We're still hovering around where we were a week ago, so nothing too big there. But let's jump into a few little on-chain pieces that are out there right now. First of all, halving progress from the Rational Root. You can see here, Bitcoin is 70% through to the halving progress. So we don't have far to go, ladies and gentlemen. And if you look here at these historical charts, what happens at the 70% mark is very similar to what happens at the 65, 66% mark. 67%, no matter how you measure it, it's up from there. We have actually had a premature run before the 70% mark, which we pegged at the 66% in a video a few weeks ago. And here we go. So things are looking really good for Bitcoin. A lot of people are hoping, let's take a step, hoping that Bitcoin will drop back down to 10K, 12K, and they've been waiting to get in. But if you look at this chart and look at history, that type of move would be unprecedented. Simple as that. Not hopium, just charts. Let's look at Bitcoin transaction levels, highest since January 2021, ladies and gentlemen. That is over 2 years ago. And this is the Bitcoin transaction count, entity adjusted. And the current demand for these inscription transactions, and you know what they are, the Bitcoin NFTs, are on fire. And this rapid ascent in transaction count reflects a significant increase in network activity as demand for on-chain transactions has begun to return. So woohoo! Remember, it's all about network effect, and things are looking good. So let's jump forward and to the euphoria. So trade in fear and euphoria sentiment has worked well as a counter indicator as Bitcoin's prices fluctuated. But here, sentiment notes a huge level of euphoria in Bitcoin at the moment against the backdrop of Bitcoin rising to an 8-month high, everybody. So this is interesting. And when you look at the heavy call buying, this is kind of what this is driven off. You can see it is extremely bullish going forward. I covered all the call option activity and the big bets for March 31st, and they were bullish. A lot of people looking at $30,000, $32,000 Bitcoin. Now let's look at the name of the video today is the Bitcoin Guppy Flips Positive. So this chart here, it's a bit of an eye chart. I apologize. It's a little hard to see. But the Guppy has flipped positive for the first time since November 2021. And we all remember that was the peak, ladies and gentlemen. And this is when the shorter term moving averages, which are the greenish lines, flipped the longer term moving averages, the red lines. And this has been used in traditional markets for a long time. The Guppy is a trend following technique composed of 12 exponential moving averages. And the multiple lines of the Guppy help traders really see the strength or weakness in the trend than if only using one or two EMAs. And the 12 EMAs are separated into two groups, short-term, group and long-term group. And here you can see things are looking good. So that is the Guppy index. And again, typically a very, very bullish sign. Let's jump forward to talking about Solana. Solana's up. We covered this in DCA yesterday with the team. But you can see Solana is up 30% in a week. And it's looking to overtake Doge in its sights. Solana currently has a market cap of 9.96 billion last time I looked. And it's number 11. And Polkadot is, I just beat that. That is now back down to number 12. Polkadot has about 8.7 billion, so it overtook Polkadot this week. But next in line is Doge with an $11.73 billion market cap. And Sol has been outperforming Doge, but it's still behind Doge. And that's kind of crazy. We'll talk about the utility of Dogecoin later as well. But it's important to understand the whole market cap metric is very fake because there's kind of like near infinite amount of Doge and it's kind of thinly traded. So be careful out there. Now let's look at specific coins. Here you can see there was a mixed sentiment last week. There was a lot of negative, but there was a lot of positive. Ethereum, Cosmos, Polygon, Avalanche all saw outflows of 7.2 million, 1.6 million, 0.8 million, and 500,000 respectively. However, Aave, Phantom, we all had a little bit of an inflow, about 360,000, 260,000, and Solana was flat on the week, but that was kind of mixed and interesting when you compare this action to the altcoin season action. Again, you can see the direct movement. Even though money may be flat in a certain asset, doesn't stop it from going up. Same thing with Bitcoin. Had a great week. Let's talk about Chainlink. Link is alive at last. Chainlink's largest transaction in 8 months occurred just 12 hours ago. 106 million in Link moved to a new whale address, the largest move since June, and the transfer was 4 hours before the price topped out at 8.34, the highest since the FTX collapse. Note as well, Chainlink, we covered this a few times before, but that did really, really well in 2018. 2022, it did not do well at all. So this time, things are different, as we say. Now let's talk about Dogecoin for a second. Dogecoin use cases. A lot of people are big fans of Dogecoin because they believe in Elon. I believe in Elon. I just don't believe in Doge because I like to invest in things that have utility. So what can it do? You can make purchases in obscure places. Like I think there's a basketball stadium somewhere in Texas where you can use it to buy hot dogs or something. And you can use it for high-risk speculation. But remember, it is not a store of value because there's no lifetime cap on the number of Dogecoins that can be created. So it can inflate to infinity. And I do not like inflationary tokens, as you know, and most are. So let's jump ahead. Sorry for going so fast. I've got to run. Stocks over the last 7 days in US dollars. You can see here some green. Tesla bright green. Apple just eking out a little profit. And NVIDIA also tiny fractional. Not a lot happened, but also remember it was a strange week, mixed news, a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, but that's actually coming down. We'll talk about that too in a second. So retail investors, this is huge news. They poured $1.5 billion each day into the markets. This is the highest amount ever recorded, and you've heard me bark on about cash on the sidelines, cash on the sidelines, cash on the sidelines, $4 trillion in allocated capital that's not allocated. And contrary to popular belief, retail money market funds net assets are at an all-time high, which suggests retail investors have not blown all of their capital yet. There's more to come. And that means the market conditions remain very supportive. Look at this chart here. The green line up was the deployment from retail. And the red line down is how basically the whole year of 2022 was just peeled away. But it's coming back. We'll see how long this lasts. But again, positive sign. Let's look at European stocks. Not kind of counter to this, but you can see here European investors may be a little bit too optimistic in European stocks. There is resilient macroeconomic data, maybe a turnaround in Germany, revival of Chinese demand, as well as easing inflation. All are tailwinds for the markets, but cyclical stocks like autos, retail, travel, banks have rallied hard, and maybe some people believe they are overheating a little bit right now with just a small amount of upside from where things could go. So we'll watch that place carefully. But that was a big surprise to many how strong the European market was out there. Now, quick flip into bad news. First of all, you guys know it's never good to chase yield. MarginFi is now promoting more liquidity is coming. We just started bootstrapping with our liquidity incentive program, the LIP. USDC yields 3.77%. And if you lock your 6 months SOL down, it'll give you 9.48% fixed over 6 months. Remember, the reason I don't like chasing yield is you never know where it's going to go. Second, when you lock yourself down for 6 months, it's not a good situation. So be careful out there. And that's on a Solana protocol. Now, this is another piece of bad news. It's one of the thorniest financial questions you'll ever come across, is how much is enough to be comfortable when you retire? And back in the day, back in 1990s, early 2000s, you could ask anybody, they felt $1 million would cut it. Today, the answer is somewhere from this recent survey. I think it was 550, 600 investors worldwide shared their latest views in the MLIV Pulse survey. And about a third of investors pegged it at 3 million to 5 million. So about 33% were 3 million and about 33% at 5 million. So that is staggeringly high and way higher than my expectations, especially when you consider there's some emerging markets there. So what people, I believe, the trend that will result from this is people are going to start moving to retire in places that are much cheaper to live, because who's got 3 million, 5 million lying around for retirement? Not many at all. In addition, in more sad news, Roger C. Schank has died. He is the theorist of artificial intelligence. He made huge contributions into the whole field that is red hot right now. I wish he would have been alive to see the fruits of his labor. He's an author, entrepreneur, focused on how people learn. And he just lost him. So he was 76 and he died of heart failure. So may he rest in peace. Thank you for all you've done for this great world. Now, ugly news, a little bit of ugly news, and then I got a bolt. First of all, at last, stop all the pumpers and scammers. U.S. state regulator launches crypto scam tracker. Woohoo. Round of applause, just in time. and I always talk about the Wild West of crypto. Here, look at this. Crypto is the Wild West. Blue chips only, ladies and gentlemen. This is a company called Hope Finance. Oh my God, rug pull. So this is a DeFi, decentralized finance protocol. Hope Finance lost roughly 2 million worth of crypto assets just in the last 12 hours to a hacker who claimed to be from the Genesis protocol. I'm not sure of the actual ins and outs in detail, but the hacker who scammed its community was a Nigerian named Ugoki Pascal. And he I don't know exactly how he did it, but anyway, be careful out there, everybody. Be really careful. Next, the Kimchi premium goes to discount. This means that it's cheaper to buy Bitcoin in Korea than anywhere else on Earth. And normally it's at a premium. You can see the chart here where it's at a discount. Very little of the time it appears it's at a discount. And this basically means the Koreans are losing confidence in Bitcoin, or maybe taking all their Bitcoin and YOLOing into ape coins and all this other hot stuff that's out there right now. Again, Ran follows this very carefully. Finally, top 50 altcoins versus Bitcoin over the last 90 days. You can see the chart for yourself. Blow it up. You've got some crazy outperformers. Aptos, Synthetics, Phantom, Graph, Lido, Neo, Filecoin, ICP, Solana, Curve, Hedera, Clay, Matic, Ape. It is stunning at this stage of the market to see how alts are outperforming. And then if you go to the right side, you see all the old stuff, including some metaverse stuff like Sandbox, which is suffering from heavy inflation. All the other names you can read for yourself. I don't want to call them out, even Chainlink's down there. A lot of them are really underperforming Bitcoin right now. So remember, be on the train that's moving, not on the ones that are kind of laggards. So with that, thank you so much for joining. I will see you all later.